Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Game On Wisconsin. My name is MJ Hurley, and we are back with Immaculate Perceptions. As you may notice, we're missing a very important member of the team today. Bruce is in the background. You will hear from him later when we talk about the preview with the Chicago Bears. However, right now, our main man, Joe, is very busy, and he's busy with a very important thing. And we're not mad at all, because Joe is currently covering Game 2 of the WNBA Finals, which is a big round of applause for Joe. He's out in Vegas doing big things, which we love to see. But unfortunately, barring any random surprises from Joe, he will not be here this evening. So I'm going to do a little solo show for a little bit. Like I said, we'll get some insights from Bruce later on what the Packers will be seeing in the Chicago Bears, who got to play on the slip and slide last week in Chicago. But for the time being, we have about 30 minutes where we have to talk about what went on in Minnesota. And the first thing I have to say is going back to an old Aaron Rodgers saying. I just want everybody to sit up, do a little stretch, just take a deep breath, and I have 5 very important letters for you. I want you to pay attention, Packers fans. They are RELAX. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers have been in so many worse situations than they are right now. Was week 1 an embarrassment? Yes. I don't think any Packers fan is denying that for the most part. But there are a couple things to look at. Number 1, the most important thing I want to take a look at when it comes to why Packers fans need to relax is because we got shellacked even worse last year, week 1. The Green Bay Packers in week 1 last year got absolutely humiliated on national television, 38-3 against the New Orleans Saints. And that was Jameis Winston without Michael Thomas. And that team, no offense to the New Orleans Saints, that team absolutely was worse than the Minnesota Vikings team. And I hate that I even say that. But that team was 100% worse than the Minnesota Vikings team that the Packers played on Sunday. So that's the first thing I have to say is if you're a Packers fan and you're upset and you're heartbroken and you're just obliterated on the inside after watching one of the worst performances you've seen out of the Packers offense under Matt LaFleur, you've seen worse last year, week 1. The Packers don't do well week one to start the year under Matt LaFleur, and that's something I will get to in a little bit. But please, just relax. The Packers are still one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. We still have, in Green Bay, the two-time reigning MVP, four-time NFL MVP, and in my humble opinion, the greatest person to ever throw a football on an NFL field. So with all of that, the Green Bay Packers are still in a very good position to have a successful season. But it is very important to look at what in the world happened in Minnesota. Now, first and foremost, and we've heard this a couple times in the past out of Matt LaFleur, and it drives me crazy, okay? After a game like this where the offense is just stagnant, where the offense is absolutely terrible, Matt LaFleur will come out there and say, it's on me, right? He'll come out there and say, I should have done better as a coach, okay? He'll come out there and say, we just didn't come out there with enough energy. We needed to do more in practice. We needed to be better as a team, and first and foremost, that falls back on me. Now, I would like to say I do appreciate Matt LaFleur coming out and owning it. I do appreciate Matt LaFleur being the other face of the franchise other than Aaron Rodgers and saying, hey, first and foremost, this does land on me. I appreciate him not placing the blame on others because that would be even worse. But here's the issue I have with what seems to come out of Matt LaFleur's mouth every week one of the NFL season. This is the third time now that the Packers have fallen flat week one, and the second year in a row that has kind of been national embarrassment. In the afternoon Fox game of the week that the majority of the country sees, you get smacked by a team that you should be better than. That is just unacceptable when it comes to a head coach that is touted as having one of the best offensive systems in the NFL, that has won 13 games every year he's been in Green Bay. You should be able to figure out by now, if you don't want to play your starters in the preseason, if you don't want to have your offense get a bunch of reps in the preseason specifically, I understand that. But at some point, something has to change. And I don't know if it's the preseason, but it really seems to be, and we'll be able to get a little bit more insight after the Packers play week two. Because if they come out firing on all cylinders after week two, then I'm going to hop back onto the train that says, for the love, please play your starters in the last week of the preseason. And here's the reason I say that. If you look around the league, there's a couple teams who had unusually good days. And the one I want to look at specifically for this comparison is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I don't want to talk smack about the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll is a fantastic coach. He always has that team ready. Their defense is always on top of the game. The fans in Seattle make that a very hard environment to play in. So all of that put together makes it hard for the Denver Broncos. And we can talk about Nathaniel Hackett just a tad. He looked a little bit overwhelmed in his first game as an NFL coach. However, the fact that Geno Smith significantly looked like a better quarterback last night than Russell Wilson. Wilson threw for a lot of yards. He had a lot of good plays. That offense in Denver looked very good. But the fact that Geno Smith looked as good as he did kind of explains to me that the amount of reps Geno Smith had in that offense actually do have an impact on how good a offense produces in week one of the NFL season. Every time the Broncos got inside the red zone, the gold zone that Nathaniel Hackett called it in 2020 and 2021, they seemed to just fall apart. You want to know why? Because it's really hard to score in the red zone, and they had no practice as a team in the red zone. So you bring that all the way back to the Green Bay Packers. How is it that Russell Wilson was worse than Geno Smith in key situations in a NFL game week one of the NFL season? And it's because Russell Wilson didn't get the snaps during the preseason that Geno Smith did. And so when you bring that back to the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers is an incredible quarterback. And logic should tell you Rodgers doesn't really need the preseason, right? He's in year 17, year 18 now, right? He's been in the NFL for a very long time. And realistically, he shouldn't need the preseason anymore. He should get his practice reps. He should get his camp reps. Maybe a series in the last game, right? That should be perfectly fine. But clearly, that is not fine. Now, the other thing I want to touch on, and the thing that everybody is going to want to talk about, everybody's been talking about, all of the national media is talking about again, is the Green Bay Packers receiving room. Now, I will wholeheartedly admit that there were some issues, all right? First and foremost, I believe Randall Cobb and Sammy Watkins ran a combined 54 routes, I want to say, on Sunday, and maybe had like 30, 40 receiving yards between the two of them. That, first of all, is an issue, okay? I understand that Aaron Rodgers loves the big play. That's one of the reasons that he didn't do well on Sunday, because with an offensive line that wasn't performing to their peak standard, wasn't performing to the standard that Rodgers normally holds them to, that Adam Stanovich normally holds them to, they were just not as productive on Sunday as Aaron Rodgers and Packers fans would have hoped. With that in mind, Aaron, you got to get the ball out, okay? You can't be sitting back there for 4 seconds. You want to know why? Because your former teammate, Zadarius Smith, is staring you down with Danielle Hunter on the other side, hunting for your head. And so when you know that, and you have an offensive line that barely got any reps together during camp and actual game situations, you cannot sit there and hold the ball, especially after you try to deep ball to start the game. Goes right through Christian Watson's hands. The other issue I have with Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he played as bad of a game as the numbers will show. The play calling was not fantastic. They needed to get the running backs involved more often, and Rodgers just held the ball more than he should have. I think that was his biggest issue. But the other issue was the fact that until Jordan Love came in the game, Christian Watson had one target. And it was the target on the first play of the game. Now, Aaron, I know that chemistry is really big for you, and I know you can hold grudges when it comes to receivers dropping the football. You did it with Davante Adams for years. You don't have that type of luxury, my guy. You don't have the type of luxury where you can sit there and just not throw to Christian Watson because you feel like it, okay? This is not draft day. You are not Kevin Costner. You cannot go around in the NFL making decisions just because you feel like it, okay? You are trying to win a Super Bowl, and the most physically talented receiver on your team right now is Christian Watson. And so if you want to go out there and win a Super Bowl, you need Christian Watson to produce. There are guys who can produce. Allen Lazard was not there. The Packers clearly felt that. Randall Cobb made a couple plays over the middle. Sammy Watkins made a couple plays, but it was not good enough. And one of the reasons, because Rodgers kind of ignored his rookie wide receivers that he was praising for the last month, Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, he just didn't throw the ball to. And again, that was because he was holding the ball. If you just get the ball in Christian Watson's hands, just get the ball in Romeo Doubs' hands. If you want to win football games, let your most dynamic football players go out there and make plays. The same reason that Matt LaFleur said 8 touches for Christian Watson is unacceptable. Only one target until 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter for Christian Watson is equally unacceptable. You need to get him the ball. And I'm not just saying that because he was drafted in the second round. I'm not just saying that because the Packers spent capital on him. I'm saying that because Christian Watson is physically the most talented receiver you have on the team. And so you have to see what you have there. And week 1 is the place to do it. Now, True North Packers fan, yes, Justin Jefferson is the reason the Green Bay Packers lost this football game. And I want to make a comment on a lot of Packers fans and a lot of Packers media that are mad that Joe Barry didn't have Jair Alexander follow Justin Jefferson, okay? And Bruce said it exactly right there. The Vikings moved Jefferson around in that game more than they did it all last year. That's a very good point, Bruce. So let me explain something about the Packers defense. First and foremost, the Packers play zone, okay? That is their entire defense. So if you see clips of Justin Jefferson putting Packers guys on skates, first of all, yeah, he did. There were some embarrassing clips out there of Justin Jefferson cooking Eric Stokes and Jair Alexander, because I have Bruce in my ear saying, well, yeah, because he's a stud, which is true. But also, you need to understand again, the Packers play zone, okay? Joe Barry brought over the defense from the LA Rams. And if you watch the LA Rams, one of the reasons people will get mad at McVay and company in LA is because they won't have Jalen Ramsey follow or shadow the other team's best receiver across the field. Same concept the other day with Jair and Justin Jefferson. And so the issue I have with people getting so mad about that, and I know Jair Alexander was one of them because he was kind of salty in the post-game press conference. The reason I have issue with that is because you would have to change, and LaFleur said this too, you would have to change the entire fabric of the defense in order to make that work, because it just doesn't work for you to play man on one guy and then play zone the rest of the time, because that could leave an entire zone of the field open. If Justin Jefferson leaves, let's say the far right of the field, he leaves the 10-yard zone, the underneath zone, and takes Jair deep, there's nobody to cover that zone. So all they have to do is swing Dalvin Cook out right, and that's an easy first down. So you can't just simply break apart the fabric of the Packers defense and everything they've practiced the entire time just to have Jair shadow. The other thing is, you should have faith in your other corners and your other defensive backs to take care of Justin Jefferson. The biggest issue was nobody was taking care of Justin Jefferson. It wasn't just Jair. Justin Jefferson, according to Bruce and Meyer, had the best offensive DVOA of any NFL football player in week 1. He was just receivers. I apologize. He was just better. Okay? Sometimes you have to look at a guy and say, you beat us. Okay? And that's acceptable. Like, it's not, the Packers are not going to be perfect, and they're not going to be perfect week 1. You have to look at this as a learning experience. Jefferson is one of the best receivers the Packers are going to face in the NFL this year. And so you look at it, you say, what happened? And you're able to relax, stretch the shoulders out again, guys, and say, okay, we can learn from this as an offense and as a defense. Time out. And we can move on. That's right, Bruce. Take a timeout. So it's going to be okay. The Vikings game was bad. 100%. It was bad. But I do want to recognize the fact that the Packers got killed last year, week 1, and they were able to come back from that, and it was okay. They didn't die. They still won 13 games, and they survived. And I promise that, Bruce said in my ear, you still have a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I promise that they're going to survive. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. I'm just playing around with some things on here because I can. I honestly haven't been through the whole. I was looking to see, last year we had a commercial for the MVS show, and I don't believe we have a commercial out there right now. I am dying right now with a stuffy nose. So what I'm going to do, I want a NFC North breakdown. And so what I'm going to do without any notice whatsoever is I'm going to bring Bruce in here. And we are going to, as a team, talk about what happened in the NFC North this week, because we are Packers fans, but we also care about the division and if we are going to win that division. And then once we're done with that, I have a little bit of news for Packers fans, and then we'll get into the Packers-Bears game. So, Bruce.
Let me get...
Hello.
What's up, dog? I had to mute myself in your ear on the other stuff. What's good, dog?
Yes, you did. We chilling. We doing great.
Hey, man. So
I'm done talking about that Vikings game.
Okay, that's fair.
It's, like I said, relax, move on. We still have 16 games.
Relax. Don't do it.
And I hate the week 1 overreaction for.
There it is.
So speaking of 1 to 3 inches, Bruce, tell me about Justin Fields and the Bears.
Oh my God! What absolutely garbage first half of football that was, huh?
It was bad.
Dude, bad isn't even the word. Atrocious. Like I think they went backwards, like in the NFL, and and as a Bears fan, that's tough for me to say that they went backwards. From the quarterback's perspective. Or offensive perspective, honestly. But then the second half, one of the things that hopefully we'll end up seeing as Chicago Bear fans will end up seeing with Justin Fields is he'll continue to produce plays to make them win the game and not lose the game. Because one of the things that we've already seen from this offense, and this goes without, or this whole team, frankly, is there is way better discipline. The whole club dub bullshit's gone, excuse my language. The lack of discipline and like that foolhardy like crap that you would see back in the day with like kind of loosey goosey attitudes and stuff is gone, which I love that that's gone. If you guys in Green Bay or the Wisconsin area or Packer fans don't know, Matt Eberflus is a Lovie Smith disciple, and the Bears had their best their most success for whatever that was with
right,
exactly, air quotes, with the Lovey 2, Lovey 2, actually. That's probably not a bad way to put it, but the cover 2 Lovey Smith era, and the way he does practices and stuff like that, it's a grading mentality, a loaf mentality. And he gave, like, Roquan Smith, one of the Chicago Bears best defensive players, they gave him multiple loafs in the game against the 49ers. And the guy led the team in tackles and was all over the field making plays and even sliding along. But to go back to your original question, no, there's no way they win that game last year. It would have been 20-0. Bears lost with Matt Nagy led team. Additionally, if you had
they also would have been starting Andy Dalton last year.
Right, or Foles. They've been like, oh, Foles is a better option.
Right, they would have been like, Foles is bigger. He can handle the rain better.
No. So, and if you notice, so I don't know if you saw this too. What they ended up doing was, so Justin Fields ended up wearing gloves like Michael Jackson, doing a little hee hee. And which was smart. He needed it because he couldn't grip the football. He said in the press conference too that earlier in the week at Hallis Hall in Lake Forest, he was actually practicing with gloves and a wet ball, so that way it made it easier for the transition. Yeah. So, do I like what I saw in the first half? Absolutely not. Do I like what I saw from their defense? Yes. Offensive line actually held up a lot better than expected. The grades out yesterday and today, the Bears offensive line actually scored better than the 49er offensive line. In addition to that, the Bears did not blitz at all. Then they were getting pressure with just their front four, which everyone knows if you can get pressure with your front four, you have a lot of success. Like as Packer fans and as you as Packers expert, you already know that if you can get pressure with your front four, you're fine. So we'll see what happens. Do I think the Bears are going to win this week? Negative, not at all. Do I have my Chicago Bears heart still being like, yeah, let's go? Of course I do. I'm going to talk shit if they win, but will they win? No, not at all. So now to go so if you don't mind to touch on some of the stuff that you're talking about with the Packers Vikings game.
Yes.
As a outside perspective, in that Vikings surprised me. I did not know
they did.
I really didn't think that the Vikings would come out and play the way that they did. I watched the game, however, I was slightly inebriated. So slightly. So plus I also had bets going on too. So I was also watching Red Zone. Side note,
7 hours of commercial-free football.
Side note, screw you, Bengals.
That was a rough game.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But no, they definitely surprised me. I love what they did with Jefferson. That's going to be a problem, but now that it's on tape, people are going to be able to adjust to it and see what they do with him. And frankly, I do not know why that the Packers weren't shadowing him with Alexander the whole time. That's that. I know you touched on it earlier, but I was promoting, so I didn't hear completely what you said. But your best corner should have been glued to him the whole time, in my opinion. I don't give a shit if you traditionally run zone or what kind of zone, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, whatever you want to run. I don't care. Do a cloud, want to run a blanket. I don't care. If you want to throw the kitchen sink at his forehead, I don't care, whatever. But I think that Jair Alexander should have been all over him the whole time. I thought that was a mistake. And frankly, like, But again, I digress. The Packers still have the best defense in the NFC North. I don't care what anyone says. Y'all will be fine. The Vikings are a surprise. Do I think they might make the playoffs now? I might have to change a part of my predictions about wild card. If Kirk Cousins plays like that, that's pretty significant.
Right. Well, I just want to say, in my full season prediction, I had the Vikings making the playoffs.
I don't remember.
I had them at 10-7.
I have a summer over here.
I had them at 10-7, and I knew they would do well. I just didn't think they would do that well.
No,
Bruce, the other team I want your opinion on is your personal favorite, Dan Campbell.
I don't give a shit. I love Dan Campbell.
38-35. They
covered for me
back against the Philadelphia Eagles. Friend of the show over here, Jamal Williams, at Game on Wisconsin, had 2 1-yard touchdown rushes, which was good to see. And the Lions had a great comeback. I don't know if you got to see any of the game, see any of the highlight.
I saw a little bit of it. I had to.
Bruce, give me your thoughts on the Lions. Are they a problem, or are they just going to be really close and lose a lot of close games this year?
I don't think that the talent on that roster is what it should be yet. And it's kind of a similar situation with the Bears. I don't think the Bears have the talent on their roster to do any kind of noise yet. That being said, I love the coaching staff, because I'm not gonna lie, I fell in love with Hard Knocks. I fell in love with the Dan Campbell, running through a wall, grit. Always got grit.
No,
you gotta have grit. No,
I don't care if you got 3 fingers.
3. What was it? Am I allowed to say that? What the whole thing?
Yeah, you can say that. I don't care.
Yeah. He's like, what is it? 3 fingers and 1 ass cheek or something like that.
Yeah,
I love that. And to be honest with you, as a meathead myself, I love that concept. I love the fact that he comes out like that, and he challenges his players. And frankly, the team that he has reflects that grit mentality. But hopefully for his sake and his job's sake, he's able to get the talent to surround him. Because I'm sorry, at the end of the day, you still have a 6th round linebacker in Rodrigo, who I love. I love his story. I hope he's a stud. But traditionally, a 5th, 6th round middle linebacker, inside linebacker, isn't going to do much for you.
Not at all.
Right. So, but do I hope that's different for them? Yeah, of course I do. But not to beat the Bears. But
Right.
But no, Goff is not the answer at quarterback there. Goff is under that category. See, I think Goff's like a game manager. I think we talked about this on Third Down Thursdays too. I put him in we talked about it on Sunday morning. So I put him in the same category as Ryan Tannehill. I don't think.
Yes.
I think they're you could swap them, and absolutely nothing's going to change with the success of that position. In my opinion.
I think the issue with the Lions is just the fact that they're young, other than Jared Goff. I think they're one off season away of spending some money to get a couple significant veterans in the building. I don't think there's an issue with I like you. I like the culture that they're building.
Correct.
I believe that Dan Campbell can be the man for the job. I think that they have a good system going. I think they can put up some points. They've got depth and some talent at every skill position on the offense. Clearly, the defense has some work to do if you give up 38 points.
Right.
But, I think that there are some things that are... The Lions just need a couple more inches, Bruce, and they'll get there. They'll get there soon. They're growing. But I think they're growing in these hard times. I do think that the Lions are just a couple free agent additions away in this offseason, but I do think they could be a problem next year
with their culture.
Yes, I don't know. After that game, I'm kind of buying in a little bit more. Not to crazy success this year, but to I see what they're doing.
Right. Again, they're gonna be that huge pain in the ass team that's like that grinds at you and it's like a gnat. It's a gnat that's flying around you at a grill and you're just hanging out trying to eat your burger and the damn thing won't go away from you. Speaking of that, I'm tangenting and this is what I do on Third Down Thursdays.
You're fine. Go for it.
Here, but did you hear about down in Miami and the Patriots?
Yeah, the
grill that burned out like
yeah. Dude, I would be so mad.
Okay, so first of all,
came back. You have no idea. You enjoy the game. The Dolphins win. You're living your best life, and you come back, and your car's just burnt to the ground.
Let me just say. Like, okay,
what?
I think the one thing that Bears fans and Packers fans were all going to agree on is if that's how you tailgate and you forget to do shit like that, you're an absolute buffoon.
Like who just forgets their grill?
Well, you know what I think they did? I think it was. I don't know for sure if it was a charcoal grill or not. But if it was a charcoal grill, they probably were thinking that like, oh, it'll just burn away or whatever, which is idiotic in and of itself. But
right.
But let me say, and like, hey, insurance. Hopefully, they all had insurance, or the one guy that was like doing had the insurance to like help out with all that. Hey, speaking of, wait, never mind. That's gonna be a great segue, by the way.
Yes, it will.
But man, let me tell you, like, what an idiot! You wouldn't see that. All right, I'll say this: you wouldn't see that in Arlington Heights, where the next Bears Stadium is going to be. You're not going to see that up in Lambeau. You're not going to see that up in Minnesota, and you damn sure won't see that either up in Detroit either. You know why? No. Because people in the Midwest actually know how to grill and are not asshats. Anyway,
we know how to tailgate.
I digress. All right, so we got a game this week, bro. We got a game this week.
We do, but before the game, I have some trouble to cause.
Oh, all right. Go get it.
So I got a text this morning. Actually, it was late last night, Bruce. Mm-hmm. And it was an interesting text. It was one that I immediately sent to you and Joe.
Yep.
After everything that happened this weekend, I got a text from somebody in Green Bay that basically said, Packers are not opposed to bringing in OBJ. The Green Bay Packers have talked to Odell Beckham Jr. about coming and playing at Lambeau Field with Aaron Rodgers. There are a couple caveats. Number one, Odell is doing his rehab in LA, so he wants to finish his rehab in LA before he signs with anyone, before anything like that. He doesn't want to transfer his rehab, and so because he's not currently on contract, he can finish out his rehab, and if he needs to do anything with any Rams training staff, he can, because that's where he got hurt, and he's not currently with an NFL organization. So he wants to finish out that rehab. And the other thing is he just wants, and this is completely his right, OBJ just wants to take a look at who is out there, and when it comes to maybe week 6, week 7, week 8, look at the contenders that are around the league and see where the best spot may be. But the Green Bay Packers are open, and they have the cap space to sign Odell Beckham Jr. And the front office and Aaron Rodgers are willing to make that happen if Odell Beckham is interested in coming to Green Bay and throwing on the green and gold and playing for the Green Bay Packers. Why wouldn't he? It's Aaron Rodgers. It's Lambeau Field, some of the best history in the NFL. He won his championship. And so now he can go play wherever he wants because he won his ring. He was there for opening night against the Bills. And I think it's possible, Bruce. I really do think it's possible that Odell Beckham ends up in Green Bay at some point this season.
Okay, so what? Someone in the chat. I'm gonna highlight it if you don't mind. That's pretty good actually. Where was it? There it is. That one. Still don't want OBJ. All right. So why? If why wouldn't you want him? Because to be honest with you, I don't think that this is one of the biggest things, and I'm going to harp on it again. The Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers have two of the worst receiving rooms in the NFL, if not the worst. And again, you and I have had it's like comparing, like when you and I go back at each other saying my receiver room's better, your receiver room's better. It's like comparing baby shit A to baby shit B.
Right.
So
like The fact that Alan Lazard is my receiver 1 and Equanimeous St. Brown is your receiver 2, like that's
right.
Eh.
St. Brown caught a touchdown pass this week. I don't know if Lazard did.
He did. He scored a touchdown like 2 minutes away from when his
brother did. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool actually.
But
let's just put it this way. I think Odell was able to prove that he's no longer a locker room issue. You don't be concerned about that. Dude, if he comes to your team, he wants to go win championship. That's his main concern.
And if you,
so I would not pull any of that crap out. Why don't you want Odell?
Sign him for the vet.
5 receivers better than Odell.
Vet minimum 1-year deal.
It doesn't even have to be a vet minimum.
With incentives.
Money.
Well, right, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying to kind of like perk it up a little bit for True North Packers fans.
There's no culture issue.
The culture issue.
I don't know how you can realistically say culture after the man walked into LA and single-handedly turned around that offense. And if you don't tell me that he's one of the biggest reasons Cooper Kupp was as good as he was last year, I don't know what to tell you, because Kupp was great before OBJ got there. When OBJ got there, he became next level elite.
Mm-hmm.
And dude was on his way to being Super Bowl MVP. I understand the injury issue, but an ACL is not what an ACL was 15 years ago. OBJ can come in and still be an incredible slot receiver for the Green Bay Packers for the last half of the season and be on top of the world by the time he gets to the playoffs. I don't see how I maybe get the ACL thing, but there should be absolutely no issue when it comes to culture bringing OBJ to Green Bay. And money's not an issue. Money's not an issue, so I don't really even care about the injury thing because it's not like we're strapped for cash right now. The Packers all of a sudden have some of the most cap space in the NFL.
You'll know more about that than I do, but I like, just regardless though, I'm not saying no to that. If you told me right now, MJ, that the Chicago Bears were interested in Odell Beckham Jr., I would say yes. Because if you have an opportunity to pull him in, go for it. I would take him, dude. Okay, have him and Darnell Mooney. I'm totally cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Exactly.
That at least that is a middle, like lower end. Lower mid tier. I'm saying lower mid tier realistically.
20th. Yeah.
I would say 15th to 20th, like 22nd, around that area, 15 to 22nd. And I'm totally okay with that. And you know what? That's a way better option than having Byron Pringle for the Bears, Byron Pringle, Darnell Mooney, Velus Jones Jr., Pettis, and the guys that they have in that receiving core right now. So, and I'm sure you feel the exact same way. So, y'all Packers fans, you should be excited because you have a Hall of Fame quarterback that can provide you the opportunity to have this guy be happy because he's going to have the ball in his hands, and a system in which is successful and has shown sustained success consistently with your Hall of Fame quarterback.
And you know what else this tells me is Rodgers is going out there and recruiting.
True. That's even better. That's a great point too.
Yeah.
That's a great point too.
I don't see a negative. Also, your free Zoom meeting has ended because of
I know.
Basic account. But let's get to Packers Bears. So, Bruce, give me one person or position group that the Packers should be concerned about on the Chicago Bears. It's going to give the Green Bay Packers the most trouble on Sunday next week.
Oh my God. Dude, okay, realistically, man, this is not doing any research or anything like that either. Realistically, I would say almost none. However, the one that I think that we talked about a little bit pre-show, which was a shock to me, was how well the Bears did in getting after the quarterback. Granted, conditions weren't ideal for blocking.
Yeah.
However, the Bears offensive line was playing in the same shit that 49 defense or offensive line was. So if the Bears can actually have sustained success in getting pressure on Aaron Rodgers with just their front four, I would genuinely say that the thing that they would have to be the most concerned about is the Bears secondary. I think the Packers can have success running the ball, and I think A.J. Dillon should just run all over them, to be honest with you. But I would actually say their pass defense would probably be the one thing that, and watch, Rodgers going to light him up for like 400 yards. But that's the one thing in my head right now that's like, okay, that's the one thing that I'm going to say that I kind of liked what I saw. Because the only messed up coverage that I saw in that game against the 49ers was from the rookie Kyler Gordon, who missed an assignment. So there was a pass off.
You got a rookie corner.
Well, he's not starting.
You got a rookie corner. Yeah, but when he on the field, whoever
and a rookie
we call that the whoever offense around here, Bruce. Who is getting covered by him, Rodgers in the ball.
Fair. But anyway, I'm
chug.
No, I'm not chugging that because that's too expensive of bourbon to chug. But no, but I'm gonna say I'll say that, and then sorry, I don't want to take anything. Go ahead.
And I'll go along with that. The thing I'd like to fix is their line. I think Zach Tom should be playing right tackle specifically. I believe Newman should be slotted back at right guard where he is supposed to play when everybody is healthy. I think Zach Tom should be starting in the same concept that Yosh is starting as the backup to Jenkins until he gets back, the same way Yosh is the backup to Bakhtiari until he gets back. I think the interior of that offensive line should stay the same all season, because that is the most important. I'm not worried as long as they're healthy. I'm not worried about our tackles. I know they're going to perform if they're on the field and if they're healthy. I'm worried about the interior. I need them to be able to play together. And Bruce, you know better than anybody with your football experience, it's the interior that needs to be all on the same page.
Always the middle. That's how I always think of it. Quarterback, center, guard, linebacker, defensive tackle, safety, linebacker, running back. Not so much running back anymore, but always the middle is always important.
So, so Dan, I'm not worried about Jake Hansen because I don't want him playing. That's why I'm not worried about him. Because he's not going to be on the football field once one of our all-pros come back. And I don't want him playing. That's why I'm not worried. If he's on the field, I'm worried.
What I'm concerned about,
that's why I want Zach Tom playing.
So one of the concerns, I know this is a Packers show, but one of the concerns that I have for the Bears is the fact that Darnell Mooney only had I think 3 targets maybe in that game. And
that was the rating, right?
And I don't disagree. And also the fact
16 passes.
And true, and still completed 47%, which needs to be improved. But also the fact that you had Cole Kmet was an absolute no-show. So I want to see I want to see something better from them.
Yeah, I just think both the Packers and the Bears had a couple weird play calling things, and also David Montgomery was kind of a no-show too for you.
He was a dancer. So he was a dancer. I don't know if you saw the game. So Khalil Herbert actually had a pretty decent game.
He was the RB1.
The limited carries that he had in that game, you know what it was? Because you can't make a cutback on a field that's with 2-3 inches of rain on it. You can't do that. You have to hit the hole hard, and I think he was doing a great job of that.
1 to 3 inches already. We're expecting about 2 more inches.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, no. So it'll be he needs to show up and stop dancing and just hit a hole.
For sure, hit that hole hard. I would love Zach Tom at right tackle to right guard. Bring in Newman, Bach Jenkins back. Then Hansen doesn't deserve a start. He deserves a start. I compared it earlier, Dan. I don't know if you were here. I compared it to Elton Jenkins in 2019 when it just took a couple games for him to get on the field. Everybody knew that he should be. Even national media knew that Zach Tom should be starting. National media knew that the Packers' 4th-round rookie offensive lineman should be starting, and were concerned why Jake Hansen was there. So slide Newman back to right guard, put Zach Tom at right tackle for now, and then when your all pro, all world tackles get back. You slot them in there and you have a great offensive line. I don't see how this is complicated. I don't see how this should be an issue. But for some reason, the Packers overthought it week 1. I get it. Hopefully they make that change because Jake Hansen was just terrible. And the tackles weren't great. I really don't like Royce Newman at tackle. I don't think he's built to play tackle. He played right guard all year last year, and then all of a sudden they're randomly playing him at right tackle.
Wait, who's that big boy? Who's the big boy they just brought up from the practice squad? I just saw something.
His name escaping me.
I saw something today.
Dan will know if I can't get to it.
Dude was like 6'3" something. Caleb Jones. Thanks, Dan.
Caleb Jones, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that. And I'm not hating on the guy because obviously I have no idea who he is or what he's done or anything like that. I've never even heard of him before in my entire life. But traditionally, if you're on a practice squad and you're that big, the Bears' defensive ends are pretty damn athletic. So if he gets any,
I really hope they're not bringing up.
I was about to say.
I really hope they're not bringing up Caleb Jones to start him. Bruce, I will lose my ever-loving mind if they're bringing up Caleb Jones to start him.
Time out.
They've made some questionable decisions week 1, but if they do that, oh my gosh. Yeah, this is exactly it. Jake Hansen had a great camp, said Matt LaFleur. We out here rewarding seniors in high school for playing better freshmen. Yeah, like
that's funny.
You play the guys that are the best. We're not giving Jake Hansen a participation award and letting him start week 1 in the NFL just because he really had great hustle week 1. We play who we need to play to win. I mean, okay, I'll take Caleb Jones over Jake Hansen. That's true. If it gets me Royce Newman out of tackle, then yes, I will take Caleb Jones. But still, no.
All right, MJ. Anyway, I think we're kind of getting short on time, so let's get our predictions for the final score.
We'll get our predictions. We're gonna go over/unders 42.5. Green Bay is favored by 10. I still believe, even after the embarrassment of last week, I would go with the over, and I would go with the Packers spread.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. If the spread gets any higher, like I was telling you earlier, if it gets like 11.5, because like the national people are to bet like crazy on the Packers to win this game by more. If it gets to 11.5, I'm hitting the Bears plus 11.5. But I'm gonna say over, and I'm gonna say Packers by 10.
And my last thing I have to say is the 2-time reigning MVP is going to be very mad.
You just hope he has a receiver that can catch the ball from him.
Correct. And if Alan Lazard gets back, that'll be great. Fantasy owners expect big days out of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon because they're going to get fed the ball after how mad LaFleur was at himself for not giving them enough touches. And I think the Packers go out there. I think they win that football game somewhere in the realm of, I don't know, 31-14, something like that, I think would be a realistic score. I think Packers defense locks up a little bit better than they did last week because no offense to the Bears, they just don't have anyone good as any of the 3 best offensive players in Minnesota. So I think Packers go out there, win that football game, and get back on track. And then for the love, they have to go to Tampa Bay and face the Buccaneers.
Which I cannot wait to watch that game.
I don't want to. I'm not.
I won't.
I'm gonna get mad.
One at a time, my guy. One at a time.
Shout out to Leonard Fournette, by the way, for roasting Tom Brady. Anyway,
hey, real quick, I'm gonna do a cheap plug. So, guys, if you liked what you saw with MJ and I tonight, and granted, I just filled in. I'm not. I'll always be in the background with this, but if you liked what you saw and heard, and enjoyed listening to my goofy ass talk, please join us on Thursdays, every Thursday, Third Down Thursdays at 7 p.m. with MJ and myself, Coach Bruce. MJ, thank you guys so much for giving me this awesome opportunity to talk to you, to you, and to be a part of the Packers Nation. And I'm sure I'm going to get roasted by some people, which is fine. You guys totally should. And I'll always be truthful, and I'll always give my honest opinion. Packers will whoop the shit out of the Bears this weekend. However, go Bears!
All right, folks, make sure to Tune into Lombardi's Bar tomorrow. Got some great stuff over there. They interviewed Kenny Clark last week. They've talked to Romeo Dubs. A lot of good stuff over there. So make sure to check them out tomorrow evening, and we'll be back next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. My name is MJ. That's Coach Bruce, and we'll be back next week.